Kevin asked Dalton to help his parents get medical help while he faced his grandfather in front of the whole family. He didn't want to fight him, but it looked like he had to. So he warned Grandpa Williams not to start a battle with his friend Dalton Steele. Hearing Kevin talk to him like this, Grandpa Williams was stunned for a moment, but he quickly recovered. Then he swung his walking stick around in a big circle, forcing Kevin, Dalton, and the others to take 4 or 5 steps back. "As long as I have anything to do with it, you won't be able to leave today," Grandpa Williams said as he held his lion-headed walking stick and banged it on the ground forcefully. Several of the floor tiles cracked from the violent blows. "Grandpa, remember you're starting this, not me," Kevin said confidently. "You really don't know what's good for you, do you?" Grandpa Williams shouted. Then he turned around and yelled, "Everyone retreat!" Hearing this, the group of attackers from the Williams family all took 5 or 6 steps back. Kevin could tell that his grandfather still had a lot of skills. After all, he had spent his entire youth training in the martial arts. Kevin wasn't looking forward to this match. However, for the sake of his parents and friends, he had no choice but to fight. "Grandpa, I'm sorry I have to do this," Kevin said very sincerely. Grandpa Williams waved his walking stick around threateningly and replied, "We haven't seen each other in a few years. I want to see if you can back up your arrogant attitude." "Dalton, get my parents out of here," Kevin shouted at his friend. Then he took a deep breath and rushed at his grandfather. The moment Kevin moved, there was a loud shout that shook the entire mansion. "Come on, focus," Kevin muttered to himself. It was astounding how much he had recovered from the injuries he'd received in the past couple of days. "Well done," Grandpa Williams said as he moved forward to meet Kevin's attack. The two of them collided explosively. "Everyone, follow me," Dalton shouted as the fight moved into the mansion's courtyard. "If anyone attacks us, fight back with all that you have." "Chase them all out," Thomas roared as they got closer. Soon, the Williams family and Steele's people started fighting with each other. At the same time, Grandpa Williams lifted his walking stick and brought it down in a powerful overhead strike. It just missed Kevin's body and smashed into the ground, breaking several marble paving stones. "Grandfather, please don't make me hurt you," Kevin said as he gritted his teeth and took 2 steps back. Then he threw himself at Grandpa Williams again. "Kevin's very good, but he doesn't know his own limitations yet," Grandpa Williams said to himself. Then he swung his stick around and around in circles, trying to strike his grandson. Kevin caught the lion's head carving on the end of the walking stick, but not before Grandpa Williams had struck several of his own family members, knocking them to the ground one after another. Kevin took a couple of steps back. After he had regained his balance, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Grandpa Williams also took a few steps back and his face turned pale. "Kevin, are you all right?" Dalton asked with concern as he cradled Kevin's father in his arms. "Don't worry about me. Just get my father and the others to the hospital," Kevin said right away. "Kevin, I really underestimated you," Grandpa Williams commented as he looked around the courtyard. The Williams family's best fighters had been beaten up badly by Dalton and his bodyguards. Some of them were lying on the ground, screaming in agony from various painful injuries. "I never thought that my grandfather could still fight so well," Kevin said with a solemn expression on his face. "You shouldn't be so brash. The family is doing this for your own good," Grandpa Williams said bluntly. "The family? Ha!" Kevin sneered as he looked at everyone. "I swear to you, if my father doesn't survive, if anything happens to him, I will bury the entire Williams family with him." Grandpa Williams became livid when he heard this. "Ridiculous! Just because I can't defeat you?" "I admit that I'm not a match for you, grandfather, but can you guarantee that you'll be able to protect the Williams family forever? Will these people ever be able to step outside of their homes?" Kevin said threateningly. How dare you talk to me like this?" Grandpa Williams snarled as he held his walking stick tightly. He was so furious that his chest was heaving. "That's all I've got to say. Whether you will be able to protect them or not, only time will tell." After saying this, Kevin turned around and left. Grandpa Williams stared at the mansion's smashed front door. It suddenly occurred to him that there was something suspicious about all of this. "Father, are you all right?" Thomas asked as his cousins helped him walk over to Grandpa Williams. "Kevin has committed a heinous crime. How dare he attack you, Father?" Laura, who had just woken up, said with hatred in her eyes. "And that Dalton Steele, he came here to interfere in our family's business because he thinks the Steeles can protect him. He's even injured some of us. We can't let him get away with this." "Grandfather, 15 of us need to go to the hospital immediately. There are also a dozen or so who are seriously injured," Ethan said angrily. "This Kevin is really detestable. He actually joined forces with outsiders and came to cause trouble here in our family." "Then get them to the hospital," Grandpa Williams said calmly. Then he turned to Thomas and said, "Come with me." While this was going on, Kevin had already arrived at Philip Quinn's private hospital. Under Dr. Willow's skilled care, Alan and the others quickly received the medical attention they needed. After everything that had just happened, Kevin didn't want to leave his parents in New York, so he arranged for them to be transferred to a hospital in Chicago once their injuries had been treated. Then he made plans to head back to Chicago himself, accompanied by Dalton and his bodyguards. What Kevin didn't expect was that Dr. Willow would actually follow them back to Chicago and even use her connections to take charge of Alan and Susan's treatment. After making all the arrangements, Kevin called Lily to let her know what had been going on and that he was heading home. A few hours later, Lily and her mother walked into the hospital where Kevin's parents had been transferred, downtown General. Dorothy said unhappily, "Lily, if you wanted to see Kevin's parents, why did you have to drag me along? I already told my friends that I'd play cards with them later." "Mom, some things are more important than playing cards," Lily said helplessly. "After all, they aren't dying. How are we going to help?" Dorothy complained. "Mom, what are you saying? Kevin and I have been married for almost 3 years, but we've never met his parents. Now that the two of them are in the hospital, we really should visit them. It's the humane thing to do," Lily said assertively. "I really don't know what you see in that good-for-nothing," Dorothy whined as she reluctantly entered the elevator. "Mom, I wish you'd give Kevin a chance. He's doing really well now, and I'm sure he'll be making a good salary soon," Lily pleaded with her mother. The way Lily saw it, now that she had accepted Kevin, she should do something to help his parents. Okay, I'll try. But let me set some ground rules. I'm only staying for a few minutes," Dorothy said obstinately. Then she warned Lily, "You'd better not stay too long. If you spend too much time with people like them, you may pick up some bad habits." Just as she was saying this, the two of them arrived in Alan and Susan's wing of the hospital. But they were stopped by 2 men. "I'm sorry, but no one is allowed to enter this area," one of the men told them. Dorothy was stunned when she heard this and thought that maybe she and Lily had taken a wrong turn. Based on the looks of the 2 bodyguards, she figured that they were protecting someone very important. Just then, Dr. Willow walked over wearing her white lab coat, her stethoscope dangling casually around her neck. "What's going on?" Dr. Willow asked the guards as she looked at Lily and Dorothy. "Dr. Willow, these 2 people want to enter the room," one of them answered very respectfully. "Oh, are you Kevin's friends?" Dr. Willow asked curiously. "He's my husband," Lily answered awkwardly. "Is that so? Then please come in." Dr. Willow smiled and invited the 2 of them into the room. When they walked in, Alan was lying on the hospital bed wrapped in bandages. His wife, Susan, was in the other hospital bed. "Alan, Susan, you have some visitors," Dr. Willow said very gently. Lily and Dorothy looked around the room, unsure of what to say next.
Hi, Kevin here. If you're wondering what happens next, then stay tuned on the Pocket FM Universe channel for more episodes.